Good afternoon, my friend, and welcome back to my Facebook. I keep saying Facebook, no, YouTube Live. Oh my goodness me. And yes, it's a weird day today. Right, I guess you all know what's exactly happened, and yeah, you might have heard the news already. And I had to modify my title for today's stream slightly just to accommodate what I'm about to say today. And of course, it's still valid. Whatever I put previously is still okay. And but let's put into focus on exactly the big news that actually announced this morning from Olympus. And I bet that a lot of you guys actually probably the only reason you're tuning into this particular live stream today, and because of that. And well, hope that you like this channel and like myself and will subscribe accordingly. But I know there are a lot of you guys are already regulars, and you know that I run live stream every Wednesday about photography, filmmaking, and Olympus stuff in general. But just to give you a brief of who I am if you are new to here. So I am Jimmy Cheng. I'm a professional photographer and filmmaker, and I am an Olympus ambassador, but I work with Olympus and not for Olympus. So like, I don't get paid for everything that I'm saying today. I don't get paid to promote anything here, and it's purely just my personal opinion, my thought about it. But just to give you a little bit of an exclusive news that no one else has at the moment is that I did speak to Olympus this morning, and literally straight after the news was announced. Just to give you a little bit of a personal space here, because you know, this live chat is usually very personal and also very intimate. So I want to share, you know, like talking to a friend, like a long-term friend, right? You know, you agree? We're all gentlemen here, and gentlemen and ladies here. We don't swear. You know, I got young kids here, so like I want everything to be very civilized. And this is how I always conduct my live stream. So anyway, so the phone call came when I was in the toilet this morning. Yeah, I'm not joking. Yeah, I was actually in the toilet. Yes, doing my business, and I had the call. And this is true. And then and the call actually came from the Olympus director. Okay, and so of course, it's an important phone call, right? You know, so I had to jump out from the toilet and answer the call. And then, of course, you know, he told me about the news, but just before he told me or even rang me, and I already starting to read about it, because you know, these things do spread like wildfire these days. You know, any news come out, you know, instantly within seconds is all over the world. So I was already halfway reading, you know, the news that broke out this morning about Olympus sold to JID, I think it was, and so I was reading about it, and the Olympus phone call came. Okay, and before I go on, let's say hi to some people here. I noticed that you guys are already talking about it privately before the stream even started, and so I know that you are very, very eager to talk to me about the whole situations and want to learn a little bit more about Olympus' future. But I have some good news, and that's, you know, in short, I can share some good news with you. So that is really, really fantastic. And just in short, if you guys got anything to rush, you know, to go on to do something else, all I can say first is Olympus is going to be fine, at least in short to medium term. So that means that for the next 5 to 8 years, you don't have to worry about a thing. So if you guys got anything else to do, you can bugger off. If not, if you want to hear more about why I'm saying this, please stay here, be patient, grab a cup of coffee, and we're going to talk about this. Right. All right then, so let's get started about this and talk today. And of course, I have a couple of things to talk about. First of all, is Olympus business. This is the big thing. The second is about Canon, and finally is Micro Four Third. Okay, so there are three main things I want to talk about today, and I don't know how much time I have, but I would like to cover as much as possible. This Olympus business, of course, is my main priority today, and because it's fresh, so I must well talk about it. Like. Okay, so I know that a lot of you guys are thinking that this is the end of Olympus, and JID purchased this. Olympus is going to affect the company's operations in terms of the camera divisions and so forth, and that means you are going to lose out as a consumer who just bought the camera, or you're about to invest into the Olympus ecosystem. Well, there are two things here. Right, first of all, yes, Olympus camera division, or the imaging division, that's what they call it, has been sold, and the agreement was signed And but you don't have to worry about just yet, because there is a due diligence being signed between Olympus and JID, and then what that means is JID's already agreed to continue to invest and not change anything within the imaging department for the foreseeable future, and that includes product development, product R&Ds, product launches, and any current marketing activities that they are doing. They actually might improve on the marketing, and that's something, of course, when they buy something, to make sure that it works and make profit, right? This is the whole point of acquisition, and so this is something to be excited about. So, like, if you guys are thinking about, these new lenses that on the roadmaps may not come now because Olympus is dead, right? What I can say and reaffirm you is that Olympus is not dead. Olympus the imaging division simply being transferred to another company who now has more money to spend, and on another note is that JID is an investment funding company. Yeah, so it's different. They are not just about business restructuring specialists. They do build brands. So that's one main thing that you have to understand, that when JID actually purchased the Olympus imaging division, of course they will have to see some sort of potential within the business and how they can make a profit out of it. Yes, this is the business world, right? You have to understand, I wouldn't want to spend like hundreds of millions to buy a division and just chuck it to the sea. No one would be stupid like this. There has to be some value there, and they must have seen some potentials there. And in fact, from what I understand from the conversation that I had, and in terms of the imaging divisions, we are actually doing pretty well compared to other competitors out there. So this is something that I had to reiterate, that the overall photographic industry, in not just Olympus, but everybody is suffering ever since the first decline when the smartphone are starting to popularize in the entire world. They are indeed having a big effect on the photography market in general, not just about Olympus. So like Canon, Nikon, Fuji, and Sony, they're all seeing the declines in terms of sales. And if you speak to anybody, if I say that they're all doing really, really great, that will be a lie. So I don't want to talk to anyone about, this brand is not doing well. I never ever do that. If you know me long enough, you've been into this live stream, or know me and follow me long enough, you know that I never ever do that. Even though today's title I said about Canon Scared, but the fact is, I'm only sharing my observations here. I'm not talked down on Canon, saying that they're bad or things like that. I never do that. I'm a photographer. I am not a fanboy, so to speak. I'm a professional. I only see things. I only use my equipment to make a living, and so that's what I'm trying to reaffirm you, that everything that I said here is purely from my own opinion. Olympus didn't really pay me to trying to talk to you guys and trying to influence you or trying to grab you back into the Micro Four Thirds or the Olympus world, for that matter. So, and of course, this is something that I need to make sure that is covered. Okay, right, that's good. So first of all, let's do the first point out. Olympus is business as usual. Right, from what I understand, that because of the due diligence to be signed by the end of September, and then these, obviously, all the fine details are still being agreed between the two legal sides, and so all the fine details are being structured. But as far as I know from the conversation that I had with Olympus this morning, is that everything remained the same, and all the product launches that's supposed to happen in 2020, 2021. It will still continue to happen. So there's no changes in the forthcoming lenses and bodies. In fact, just to let you know that things are still progressing as normal, is that I literally just got a phone call just before this live stream happened that something is coming in July. So I can't say, of course, I can't say anything, but it's not about hardware, but that's already a bigger hint. So I'm not trying to say anything now. So anyways, things are still happening. So I don't see there are any changes there. So you just rest assured that nothing is going to happen. And also that they also said whatever is going to happen in terms of product launches, already actually being manufactured. So lenses and bodies, everything is already being manufactured. Nothing is going to change. They are still going to hit the market at the time that they wanted to hit the market. So so that is going to be exciting. So I'm still expecting to see that big white bees that we all and very eager to see, the 150-400 Pro lens, and that is still some lens I want to get hold of and to do a review. So I'm pretty sure you guys want to see as well. So stay tuned for my review for that particular lens when I finally get my hands on one. And also in terms of future development, and GID also promised that to continue the R&D. So that means that whatever they already have in the pipelines or any ideas they want to do, that is going to continue. But having said that, just like any businesses, even Olympus themselves would have done the same thing, is that any future R&D is subject to available budget and also how well the business is doing. So these are still two main factors been driving the future development. So no one really knows what exactly is going to happen, and no one knows. Simply, it's the future that we cannot see. So hopefully the market, the photographic market, will eventually saturate, and also, like, I mean, when I say saturate, I mean the dust will calm down a little bit, and people who are really enthusiastic about photography and filmmaking would know exactly what they want, not just about using an iPhone or things like that. So the iPhone market is already saturating. So so hopefully the market will balance and equalize, and hopefully sometime that people will be back to normal. So then we'll see some growth in the photography and the photographic camera industry again. So this is something that we're looking forward to, and I'm pretty sure that GID is also seeing the potential there in the next few years, and something that they would be hoping to develop. Right, and then this is part one. And also, part two is streamlining the business model. Well, this is something that even before GID took over, or no, they haven't taken over yet, but yeah, Olympus, I'm pretty sure they're already thinking about it. The first sign, of course, you've already seen about the South Korean imaging divisions being closed. But having said that, I don't know if you guys know about it, is that they only closing the sales division or the actual client front-facing division. But in South Korea, the technical after-sale and also technical repair center are still there to support all the customers who bought Olympus gears already. So they're not really closing, so to speak. And that's a very clever strategy there, in a way that they are maintaining presence in the country, even though they are not technically visible. But then, but that would mean that if the market does pick up, something happens, what they need to do is to just put some new staffs in, and that will be it. So that is very clever in that sense, and I do appreciate they do that. Like any other businesses out there, you know, you really want to cut any losses or any money losing divisions or departments there, trying to streamline things, and ultimately, you know, a company has to survive with profit. So I know that Olympus has been losing money for the last few years, but that's not the point. You know, the point is that they are doing things, trying to turn the things around, and which is actually appreciable. I'm pretty sure any other companies are doing exactly the same thing. And obviously, this COVID-19 thing that we are experiencing worldwide doesn't really help. But on the flip side, what JID is doing now, they are obviously very cash rich. You know, they are a funding company, investment fund company, so they can pump money into this brand and hopefully revive it and restructure it to a point that it will make sense to everybody. And having said that, though, I do understand when it comes to restructuring a company, obviously this is purely for my own speculation, is that they will keep all the profit-making regions. So there will be some money-losing region will be closing down, similar to what South Korea's region that is probably very similar to that. So they might actually close the sales office there. They may centralize the operation into one big headquarter in a massive region, and so to speak, to cut the cost. But that again is probably something that Olympus already planned to do. You know, Nikon has done the same thing, and so is any other company. Ricoh and Pentax already did the same thing, like many months ago. So like it's something that they're constantly reviewing in terms of company operation, making sure they can make as much profit as possible. But overall, if you look at the activities that Olympus is doing, it's actually not bad at all. Olympus is pretty vibrant, to be quite honest, in the community, and also the product launches. You can see from the activities that we have in the UK, at least, is really something to be proud of. It's just something that I don't think you should be too worried about. Now let's go to the third point here, and Olympus's new hope Right. Okay. Why would I say that? As mentioned, because now GID is involved and they are an investment fund company. So obviously they do have the cash that Olympus currently don't have. Well, they do, but then they want to use those money for their own medical department, which is actually their biggest operations in terms of their corporation. So this is something that you have to also understand, is that Olympus' main business isn't the camera business. You know, I said it like many times about Olympus and the history about Olympus. You haven't seen my video. I've done one last year, and I also talked about it only a few weeks ago about Micro Four Third is not dead. And Olympus is a way bigger company that you actually understand or know. So they want to focus on that business and trying to spin off the imaging department to someone who can build the brand into a brighter future. So that's how I see it. And I know there are other people maybe skeptical or being negative about the whole news out there at the moment, but I personally think that you guys might be just overthinking it. And just like anything out there, I think the world has gone to a state that is being just way too negative about anything, not just Olympus, yeah, I'm just talking about anything in general, yeah. Just way too negative about things. Why don't we just concentrate on creating something? And like, you know, you are a photographer, you are a filmmaker, you're a content creator, you do your thing, use your gear, you know, the cameras are your tools. And there is no, you know, for me, I think any cameras in 2020 is fully capable of creating amazing results. My preference is using Olympus, as you can see, but then I don't disregard, I don't talk down on any other brands there. I don't say that, you know, Canon is shit, you know, we are the best. I never really kind of say that, you know, and you know, in fact, I talk to Canon ambassadors, I talk to other ambassadors like everybody else. I talk to everyone. So, you know, we are a creative community here, and then we never really say anything. Of course, we talk about our camera stuff like that. You know, we might actually appreciate each other's technology. I think this is the environment that we should be in, not so much about, oh yeah, you're going down now, you know, let's burn to hell. I think that is cool, right? That's exactly what I'm seeing at the moment. Yeah, everybody is talking about, oh, that now I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, and what's going to happen. And for me, you know, I'd rather concentrate on the positive side of it. You know, like now, I think a company's taking over Olympus imaging division is actually a good thing, because they, first of all, like I mentioned, they have money to spend. They can reinvent, hopefully, the Olympus the brand, and making sure that it's relevant, and also like propel into the future to have more features and more innovative ideas that can be implemented in the future cameras. So this is something I'm looking forward to. And you know, ultimately, if without money, you can't do any of that. So and lucky, and I think very fortunate that Olympus do have a very strong customer base, and we all love our gears. And even though that I'm an ambassador, I used many other gears before. It just now, I just prefer to using Olympus. And my credential is, you know, I have been a Canon full frame digital professional for 15 years. Then I was using Leica. Yes, Leica. I have 15 grand worth of Leica gears for my professional use for the last for 2 years, and before I switched to Olympus fully. So in terms of format, I do know the pros and cons, but ultimately it's depending on what I do as a photographer, as a content creator, what I feel most comfortable of using. And this is my choice. Olympus is my choice, and I'm very proud of what I choose, because my business is definitely booming because of that. You know, because first of all, no one ever complains about my images anyway, and then now I can have all these features, and also more importantly, cheaper. And to other brands that I used to use, and that makes financial sense for my business. So I'm super happy about that. So in that case, I think Olympus is actually in a very good position to propel to the next level. And don't forget, I know people have been talking about like, oh, so if JID does take over, will it move it to full frame? I don't think so. First of all, I don't think Olympus will ever go to full frame, simply because you got a good example here. You can see that people are already talking about full frame being oversaturated by different brands, different competitors out there now, and it's just not a very good environment there. But in contrast, the Micro Four Third world is still a relatively niche area. When I say niche, it's not a bad thing actually, because the competition is actually a lot less, but we all see the benefit there, which I'm going to come down to in a minute about the Canon side of it. So it's actually a very cool place to be, you know. And I think JID sees that. I'm pretty sure they appreciate that, and this is where we're going to heading, and complete Micro Four Third development. So let's do the last one here. And lastly, Micro Four Third will continue to inspire others, and I still stand by that, really do. And I don't think Micro Four Third is going anywhere. Not because I'm a Micro Four Third photographer now. And look, I did say that, and I'm going to say it again. I do have medium format and full frame cameras. I do. So like, I don't have to shout about Micro Four Third because I'm Olympus ambassador, so and as such. I'm only saying that because I see the benefit in Micro Four Third that other formats can't give me. One or two things is, first of all, portability. Definitely portability is a main factor there. You know, I am a location shooter. I shoot location projects. I travel a lot, and then and before I jumped to Olympus, my full frame gear would easily kill my bag, kill my wallet because they're more expensive to buy, and so it is really hurting me physically and also financially. But now, you know, with Micro Four Third, I can travel further, I can do more jobs, and I could last longer in a job, and I can be more flexible because of the system overall. You know, that allows me to do a lot more things than I couldn't before. For instance, you know, I can now carry a working kit, and for filming or photography in a backpack, small backpack. I'm not talking about big things, and I can climb on mountains. I can do things to photograph and, you know, be creative. That's something that I couldn't do unless you have a very big budget team that will help you carry all those stuff for you. But look, I'm not a National Geographic photographer who has like 3 porters at any one time carrying all the gears for me. I'm working mostly alone, so that means that I really appreciate what Micro Four Third brings on the table in terms of portability, and also secondly, it's all about ruggedness. And you know, Micro Four Third, especially Olympus cameras, are definitely very rugged. And like the EM1X that I'm actually using for streaming at the moment. Yeah, I'm actually streaming with the Olympus EM1X. This thing is indestructible. It's basically a G-Shock in the camera world. More solid than actually, you know, like I said, I use other system, Canon 1DX, and also other similarly body. I mean, it's really a beast in terms of the construction. So that really inspired me to go out and do jobs that previously I had to think twice, basically. So I think because of these sort of things, we continue to inspire professional photographers who wanting a portable system. But even for consumer, let's talk about consumer. Olympus has always been very innovative in terms of features. Let's say now they have the very well-known and very well-respected computational photography technology, such as deep learning AI tracking, and also they have Starry Sky AF, the live bulb and live composite. These are really genuine cool features that allows a lot of photographers to do things that they previously couldn't. You know, myself included, even though I have been a photographer for over 15, 18 years now, and things like live composite and live bulb, I don't do night shots, I don't do long exposure shot a lot. I'm not that type of photographer, but every now and then if I want to dabble with long exposures and things like that, like let's say I take the kids out to see firework, I want to capture the firework, for instance. Previously, you know, like unless I have a lot of experience shooting it, I never get good results. But having live composite, you know, this thing becoming just a piece of cake. And this is something that I believe what Olympus brought to the table is that they have invented technologies that allow ordinary people to enjoy photography. And that has always been the essence. And as way back in the 60s when they're first developing the original half frame cameras like the pen, because if you look at that camera, the reason they did a half frame camera using just traditional 35mm film is that they want to make photography affordable. And this is a true fact. You know, there's no reason why they would invent a pen, invent a half frame format because of, I just want to create something different. No, they actually made it more affordable than ever for everybody. And don't forget, film used to be very expensive. Developing, buying them, and things like that is really ultra expensive. But because of pen, you know, it revolutionized the photographic industry, allowing like normal people, family, you know, people who, you know, who are not a seasoned photographer to actually pick up a camera and shoot. And because of that process has inspired so many photographers to become what they are today. So like this is something that I feel very proud of for Olympus as a company. So I think there's a lot of heritage there, and I think JID also sees that. So when they acquire this imaging division, they want to make sure nothing is going to change immediately. And this is something that I believe is going to continue. Like I mentioned earlier already, in the next few years, nothing is going to change. Things will change a little bit over time. Of course, they will have to evolve the business to make sure it will be profitable, and also making sure everything will be streamlined. They're going to have a look at the portfolio again. They're going to have a look at all the departments and the divisions and all the staffing and everything, making sure that all the unnecessary or duplicated departments will be eliminated, and making sure that everything works well as one unit. So this is something I'm looking forward to, and then pretty sure that anything that Micro Four Thirds platform will bring to the photographic world will be very inspiring and very exciting to learn about it in the future. So this is the 4 points I want to cover. So before I move on to talk about something else, see some of the comments here. I can already hear beeping noises like basically non-stop, and I know a lot of you guys have a lot of questions there. So let me start seeing some of them and starting to answer some of them as well. So so far so good. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. And if you guys enjoy it, remember to do a thumbs up, and that will be cool, right? Okay, let's. I'm gonna start from the top, and I know it's. You got so many comments here now, so I'm just going to try to scroll through them as quickly as I can. And right, and this is a common theme here, right? Okay, let me just move out my Insta. By the way, yeah, these are my social media links. If you want to follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, and things like that, you are very welcome to. And in fact, you know, if you want to check out my work, this is my website here, so you can actually see that I'm not, you know, a Olympus staff. I don't work for Olympus. I'm actually an independent photographer and creator. You can see this channel here. I know that I'm doing a lot of Micro Four Thirds stuff, but you can also see that I also use other gears. I also conduct reviews for other brands like gimbals and things like that. I do many other things, even like smartphone things. So yeah, so I don't purely just do Olympus stuff. I prefer to use Olympus to conduct everything that I do. Right, okay, so secondhand gear will plummet, and get the best out while you can see some values. So as I mentioned, nothing's going to change for the foreseeable future, at least. So I don't think second gear prices is going to plummet. If it does, I'll probably snap some up myself, because I know for a fact that Olympus camera will last, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys will agree. People who probably using the old E series from the original 4/3 era, some of them probably still functioning, right? You know, I'm pretty sure, because they are built like a tank. So that's really cool, and that's exactly what first print photography said it will last. Okay, and right, okay. So someone actually hasn't aged well. I mean, I know this is the general skepticism about the whole news this morning. And I guess the timing of this news isn't perfect. I mean, I have to admit that, you know. First of all, obviously, a few weeks ago, Tony and Chelsea, you know, talked about, you know, Micro Four Thirds is dead as a platform. And obviously, a lot of people trying to, you know, either agree or disagree, saying that oh yeah, it will die, or some people would just say no, it won't, just because I'm Micro Four Thirds users. Of course, I did respond accordingly, but I only respond in a way that I don't disagree because of what they said. I just disagree because of how I think about the Micro Four Thirds platform. It's just another platform that that has a place in the marketplace. I don't think Micro Four Thirds is going anywhere, simply because I think the world deserves to have a Micro Four Thirds, because it's just a beautiful platform for people who love to travel, who doesn't want to have a lens and a body combined with like a 5 kilo worth of weight. You know, like I've been there, you know, as a professional photographer for so many years now. You know, I've been through these heavy gears myself, and I never ever enjoyed it. I can tell you that. I can guarantee that. So if you buy a full frame camera nowadays, you know, and even though that if it's mirrorless, well, the Nikon Z or the Canon R systems, you know, the body may be slimmer, maybe about the same size as an OMD camera, but when you buy their lenses, that's when it hurts you. Not only they're more expensive to buy, but they are definitely way bigger and way chunkier and heavier to carry. So if you've got getting like a 1.4, 1.2 lenses, and I can tell you that that bag will probably weigh about 10 kilo before you even head out the door. So like this is something I would try to avoid at any cost. You know, I'm so used to Micro Four Third now. The weight of my bag is so light. I can just really go out and smile at the end of the day. I don't want to like feeling sweaty and like exhausted by the end of the shoot or by the end of the walk or something. And this is something I think it still serves really well, and Micro Four Third, that's why Micro Four Third will stay as a platform, just because it's just a different platform. You know, I don't know why people always say that Micro Four Third is going to die, and because of sales or because of this and because of that. No, I actually don't think it's, you know, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so let's see that people that saying they're sad, and not a lot of people saying sad. Okay, don't be sad. You know, like frankly, you know, if let's say the world ends, am I gonna feel sad about it? Let's say it just happened, you know, and who actually foresee what's gonna happen in 2020? I'm not talking about Olympus, but the world in general. You know, like do I feel sad? I feel disappointed. I feel disappointed because I lost my jobs, but overall, you know, I still feeling optimistic. You know, things gonna come back to normal. My life's gonna be normal. Like I said, I work with Olympus. I don't rely on Olympus to do my job. You know, I just use the cameras. You know, I could use any other cameras if I really want to. But no, I still love Olympus gears. I still prefer to use the gears. Hence the reason that I'm sticking by my reasoning about Micro Four Third and also Olympus. This is true. You know, I don't try to lie to you. If something really ultimately disappear, you know, Olympus disappear in the world, would that hurt me? I'll feel a little bit sad, but I wouldn't say, you know, I would jump off the cliff or things like that. Probably the camera was still functioning anyway, but ultimately I'm still a professional photographer. I can use cameras, any cameras for that matter, to conduct my jobs. And okay, let's see. Wow, you guys are typing really quick. Okay, I'm trying to get some comments out here. Right, okay. Right, okay, this is exactly what we discussed earlier. I already said that nothing is going to change for the foreseeable future in terms of hardware and software. Nothing is going to change. So you can probably rest assured because of the due diligence they're going to sign, and they promised Olympus that nothing is going to change in terms of anything they already planned or executed already. So that means that all the product launches that they signed up in the roadmaps are going to continue, so that we are going to see new lenses, we are going to see new bodies coming out in the next few years. So that is good news. So like you will still see new Olympus stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. Firmware support, everything remain continue. And in fact, you might have heard about me saying that the imaging divisions always be an R&D for the medical departments within the Olympus Corporation, and that still stands. And I think that there is still a special relationship between the imaging division, even though they no longer part of Olympus. But then that link is still going to be there. So they're still going to be developing technologies, imaging technology and optics for the endoscope and all the other medical equipment. So that's still functioning there. So I don't see any changes there. So that means it's still, yeah, still pretty much business as usual. And secondly, I think the brand is also going to stay with this imaging divisions for some time. Although having said that, judging by what JID has done previously to their Vio computers that they bought from Sony, they might ditch the Sony name. So in this case, they may ditch the Olympus name, but I'm not entirely sure. They may keep it because of the heritage behind it. I think they should, but obviously I'm just speculating. I have no idea whether they will do it or not, but hopefully they will, and that means that we will be seeing Olympus for the foreseeable future. But other than that, I think the camera's still going to stay. They might actually split into OMD and Pen brands separately, and to have a different kind of strategy they're going. So it depends how they want to manage it as the division. So we shall see. It's going to be exciting, but I don't know which direction they're going to take. Whether they're just going to still grouping everything into Olympus as a brand. I'm pretty sure for now it's definitely going, at least because of the due diligence, everything remained the same, nothing's going to change. We're still going to have the Olympus brand, we're still going to have all the cameras and lenses bearing that very famous Olympus Drigo name here. So that's going to be okay. Right, and okay, let's see any other news here, and let's Yeah, you will talk about that. Okay. Right, Julian, you just invested money on the two Olympus Pro lenses and think I stick with Olympus for years, but now I'm not sure about anything anymore. Right, look, I have tons of stuff from Olympus. Would I be upset about it? Would I actually think I wasted my investment? No, I don't think so. First of all, lenses do stay, and then unless you break it or something, you know, they tend to last for years and years and years, probably outlive me, to be quite honest, if you maintain it properly and look after it properly. Camera body, obviously, it will eventually die because of wear and tear from the shutters and things. But if you use electronic shutter, that means that most likely the camera will going to last for even longer. But I don't think you should be worried too much about your investment either, because that's like what I said, nothing's going to change in the next 5 to 8 years. We just don't know afterward. Yes, no one knows what's going to happen in 10 years' time. You know, not just about Olympus, but anybody else. You know, who knows? But at the moment in time, I don't think you should be worried too much about it. I think you should be more like a concern about, you know, how to improve your photography and also filmmaking. And that's what I would take for myself. I want to improve my own game. I want to improve my photography and filmmaking and be more creative and creating contents and photography that people enjoy. So I just still enjoy everything that I do with Olympus camera gear. So I don't think whether I would be thinking wasting or selling it or trying to jump again, whatever. You know, I'm not even thinking about it at all. I'm doing this live stream today only to answer a lot of people, a lot of questions that have already been asked quite a few times this morning since the news broke. So I want to use the opportunity to clarify my position and also clarify my view on Olympus, making sure that everything would stay the same, especially after the phone call from Olympus. I know that things are going to be the same, which is good news for me at least. And so I'm happy. I'm really happy for you know, for now it's really good. Okay. Okay, you want to keep your Pen F. I love the Pen F. I still love the Pen F. All right. Okay, guys. Any other question you can continue to type. I am trying to scroll through some comments here just to see if I missed anything. So just spare me 1 second. Remember to bring your coffee. My throat is starting to get dry now. Right, just to answer this a little bit, and right, okay, no pressure on Panasonic. I know from the sound of it, you know, you already think that Olympus is dead, so already said it's not. But then on that note, saying that Panasonic move on to full frame, yeah, they just dropped the G100 Micro Four Third camera specifically for vloggers apparently, but they're still using the DFD technology for facial tracking. So I'm not sure how well that would go. But anyway, that's new Micro Four Third camera. But on the flip side, the full frame market is definitely overheated at the moment, and you can see that. Panasonic full frame cameras are not actually selling that well. In fact, it's just too much competition there. What Panasonic is doing and what Sigma is doing, you know, their full frame camera didn't actually work at all in terms of movement. They didn't move the market enough or excite the market enough because it's a modular system that that doesn't do well with either photographer or filmmaking. You have to bolt a lot of stuff to that camera to make it work or make it worthwhile handling it. Panasonic did make a really great camera, the S1, the S1R, and the SX1. They're all really brilliant camera there. But the thing is, you must have seen basically what I just said about full frame is the lenses are huge. You know, if you've seen all those lenses there, it's massive, it's heavy. People who originally using Micro Four Third Panasonic to film, now if they want to jump onto full frame, they realize that they are almost tripling the weight whenever they go out to film. You know, you may get slightly different aesthetic in terms of look of the shallow depth of field if this is something that you're really into. But then you will find yourself like, you know, hitting your back, you know, feeling the pain in the shoulder and everything every time you do a location shoot. Something that that's why most of them I know they are still keeping the GX5 and GX5S simply because that after depending on what sort of situation it is, and they really still want to use the Micro Four Third because of the portabilities and also the lightweight system. Same as Blackmagic and all the others, the Zcam, and they're much smaller and more portable in that sense. Yeah, it's just different tools for different people to use. Okay, let's see other people here. Okay. I think everybody's going to wait to see what Northrop is saying. You know, they're going to continue digging it. I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to like continue putting a nail into the coffin. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to keep hitting the nail on the thing. And but like, you know, I respect them. I do respect them as a content creator. You know, they do have their way to create attention, and they're actually nice people. They're nice people, but I do question sometimes. You know, they're overusing their influencing power to create a lot of these news that is totally unnecessary. Simply, you know, things that we've been talking about in general. You know, in a digital life these days, people have been spreading rumors and fake news to cause chaos and panics in overall markets. You know, on social media platforms, and this is almost exactly like that. You know, people are more interested in gaining tractions and views on the social media accounts by creating a conversation that may actually adversely causing a negative impact to these companies, not just Olympus but any other companies. I mean, I've seen people doing these sort of silly things that, and I do think that it's not fair for a lot of people, and it's not fair for these companies because they haven't even said anything. You know, you kind of prejudge everything for them already, which is I think is a sign of overusing the power of influencing. And so this is something I want the whole industry to change in terms of reviewing, and also a lot of the technical reviewers, a lot of the YouTubers and social influencers should stop doing that sort of negative things. I know negative sales, and that's the true fact. You know, I remember last year I made a video about I've stopped making YouTube videos, and the people didn't like that video. But the point I was making is that, you know, if negative sales, I might as well make one. And then, but of course, that really kind of hit me back. But that's, you know, this is something I really don't like to see, is that people talking negative all the time, and nothing about creative, nothing about creating good photograph, nothing about creating better images and videos, and just be a better person in general. I favor looking at people who genuinely talking about photography, passionate about photography and filmmaking, rather than this gear is better than that, you know, this number is higher than that, and then oh, this one is currently the best seller in the market, that means the other are doing absolute shit. So I do not actually encourage that at all. I mean, I know, you know, if figures already there, people can read it, so you don't have to reiterate and try to put some oil on the fire, and this is something that I do not really encourage. And George, oh, Ralph, are you ready and able? Thank you, Ralph, thank you for joining in. And Rao has been following me on my Facebook as well. So, you know, we have this every morning chat. So if you guys want to follow me, I'm on Facebook. You can just search my name, Jimmy Cheng. You'll see it. And I have a live stream every morning as well, between 11 to 11:30. So here we go. George Bacon, the entire camera market is severely declined as a result of the smartphone technology. Most people that buy the phone, yeah, like I mentioned before, yes, it is, and also this will continue to grow. But I do believe, and even that current smartphone is very capable, that you also see that the saturation point has reached. You can see the sales figure from multiple big players like Samsung, Apple, HTC, Huawei. You can see that the curve has almost flattened now. That means that they're no longer growing the same pace as they did about 10 years ago. And that also means that the market has reached a certain saturation points now. And people who are already into taking photos of that are stagnant. They're not gonna, they might buy new cameras, new smartphone like I usually do every year, every 2 years. But people who are genuinely interested about photography, they will eventually go and grab a camera, a proper camera to do proper jobs. You know, I know there are people who are using smartphone to do professional jobs like filmmakings and things like that, but you and I both know that, you know, photography, if you really want into it, you want to get proper images and stuff, you will still buy a proper camera, right? Regardless of brand, I'm just talking about in general. And so that means that people overall, once they experience photography, once they experience filmmaking from the smartphone world, if that is their hobby, that's something that they like to pursue as a future hobby or even profession, they will eventually come back to the business, come back to the camera industry and starting to get a proper camera. And that means that people will eventually come back. But it may not be the same proportion, may not be the same number of people who left the camera industry to the smartphone market. The people who return is going to be those who are dedicated, who wants to learn about photography, who wants to learn and improve their creativities and also filmmaking. So these are the people would likely to take up on the latest technology, and that means that any camera companies who actually have been innovating, have been very innovative, would win. And that means at this moment in time, I see that there are only a handful of companies are doing just that. Canon is definitely very, very good at innovating and pushing the envelopes. Panasonic and Olympus are both actually pretty good. Like I mentioned, the live composite and live bulb, these sort of feature and whatever they're developing now for the future releases are going to be pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure that these things will drive eventually all these new generations of photographers who are used to smartphone technologies is going to adapt. And like night mode for smartphones, these are something that we have already in Olympus gears, and that means that if they do the transition from smartphone to back to the actual proper camera world, Olympus could be a very handful very helpful camera place to be. That means they will come in here, they don't feel very strange or anything like that. They will just feel familiar because you've got the interface there, you've got the features there, and it's very easy to use. I think this is something that I always have to say, that Olympus camera is actually one of the easiest camera to use for sure. Some might argue about the menu system being a bit overcomplicated just because the Olympus camera is quite a bit of feature pack camera, but you have the super control panel. If you ever got stuck, press OK, the super control panel launches, everything can be accessed there. So I don't see the point there, and then people still argue about it. I don't think that is the case. Right, okay, I'm going to skip through some of the messages now. I think I'm really behind and some of you guys are talking about things. Okay, and I'm sorry about if I do miss any of the messages, and I'm going to skip right to the end so start answering some of the questions. So if I do miss something, please do let me know. Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Lala and Nikon Z is the way. Watch out the Z5 and the new 2.8 pancake lens. Well, just to give you a bit of a perspective. Even if you have the Z5 and the 2.8 pancake lens, it's still not going to be as light as the EP10, and also or the EM10 for that matter. So you haven't seen or or touched that particular camera, you wouldn't know how small it is or how light it is. And yep, fine, and I'm like I said, I'm not trying to sell Olympus to you by any means. I'm just saying that Micro Four Third, no matter how you look at it, it's always going to be smaller and lighter. And I'm trying to show you something. Yeah, I have the EM5 here. Right, so this is the EM5 Mark III, and this is a feature pack semi-pro camera, enthusiastic cameras, and it's really, really awesome. It's got hybrid AF and everything like that, and most people would be more than happy on owning this camera to do anything they want for both even filmmaking and photography. Just look at this lens here. This is a 45mm 1.8, so equivalent of a 90mm in the full frame. That is a portrait lens. My old lens that is do the same thing on the full frame world would be minimum doubling the size, and not talk about weight, just size wise. And this lens is just super small, and the optics is great and it's cheap. So I think a lot of people like always ask me, is it worthwhile doing this and that? I always said to them, like, you don't have to listen to me, you don't have to listen to anybody who says something or reviewing something on YouTube or anywhere else. The best thing for any photographer, any content creator to do is to go down and try the gear, try the damn gear yourself, touch it, put a memory card in it, shoot something, go back home, analyze the file yourself to see whether it is a system for you. Without trying a system, you can never ever appreciate. Like I mentioned again, I'm not talking about Olympus, but in general, across the line there, whether you want to get Canon, whether you're going to get Fujifilm, if you're having doubt about this and that, go down to the camera store. Maybe a bit difficult now, but if you can, go down to the camera store or order something online, you can return and try it out yourself. Hold the camera in your hand, just feel about it, take a few pictures and then look at the files. That's the best way. You know, the reason I switched from Canon and to Olympus wasn't about Olympus approaching me or paying me to do anything or even trying to pursue me from Canon. It's not about that. It's all because I tried Olympus gear, right? And it's as simple as that. I already using the Olympus EM5 when it first came out, and I just simply liked the look of it. I never knew about Olympus stuff, to be quite frank, and back in 2012. But subsequently, I liked the EM5, so I bought the Mark II in 2016, and 15, I think it was. I can't remember exactly now. And so I bought the Mark II, and I loved it. It's been my family camera for going trips and things like that, just because it's nice and small and light and it takes great photos. That's what I care about. But professionally, I was still using Canon and Leica. So this is something that I use at the time. Then overall, I thought that, you know, Micro Four Thirds may not be a professional thing for me, you know, at the time. But the thing changed when the EM1 Mark II came out, and yes, I was invited as a professional tester. So I went to an event where Olympus held in Spain, and I tested the EM1 Mark II. You know, like I said, they didn't really try to ask me to change or switch or anything like that. They simply asked professionals there. There were a bunch of other professionals there to use the camera and see how they feel. In fact, not many people converted, but you know, there were some converted. I was one of them being converted because I thought that was a system for me. After trying it out, I thought, yeah, it's actually not bad at all. So when I came back to UK, I asked Olympus to loan me a kit that I would usually take on the shoot. So they lent me a whole backpack full of kits and full of lenses and body. I went on to 2 months to do a project, and I found that I could actually use the Olympus gears. And in fact, I'm producing similar, if not better, shots. So in that case, I'm sold. So like, this is about trying, you know, not just about Olympus, but also other gears as well. The best thing to do is to try the gear yourself and to make sure that that's the way to go. It's always quite hard to compare things spec-wise. You know, that you can look at numbers, you can look at the weight, look at the size, you can look at the megapixel, you can look at the ISO numbers, you can look at dynamic range, you can look at a lot of stuff. But ultimately, I think to me, none of them actually make sense as a photographer. What I want is, I can take good photos, I can take kit anywhere I want, I can make money. That's all I care. That's all I want to do. And I don't care about anything else. And for that matter, Olympus served that purpose spectacularly. This is what I want to say to you guys about trying gears, and without trying, you just really don't know. I never really say that, you know, which one is better or worse. And if you like Canon, you like Nikon, so be it. It's okay. You know, we are content creators here. We are creatives. You know, we talk to each other. We talk photography. We talk filmmaking. We talk stuff. And that's what I like about this community that I have here. And we all love each other. You know, we talk about photography a lot. That's why I have the photography 101 set up, just to talk about photography. Less so about gears. Less so about tips and tricks. It's more about philosophy, about, you know, are you prepared to take a photograph? You know, how prepared are you mentally, you know, to be more creative? How your eyes see things? How should you be exposing certain things, rather than turning the buttons and dials and here and there? Those can be learned, and but for me, it's more that how I trained up as a photographer, and that's the knowledge, that's the skills I want to share with all of you guys, and just be more of a neutral person in terms of brandings. You know, I'm a Olympus brand ambassador, but nothing. I need to sell anything. They even, when Olympus said that, no, you are an ambassador now. But they even said to me that I don't need to sell things for them. I don't, and they say that you're already selling things by producing your work. That's what they said to me, and I really truly appreciate what they said to me, because that allows me to be me, myself, as a creative. I can do whatever photographs I want, whatever videos I want, as long as me. And the fact is, I'm happy using the Olympus gear to do the thing, and it just works both ways. It's nothing that I need to promote, you know, actively about, you know, what Olympus can do or cannot do. To be frank, I think Robin and Peter Forsgard probably know more technical stuff than I do, and that's a fact. You know, I don't know a lot of shortcuts. I actually learned a few things from those two there, and about certain settings and things. You know, I just know how to press the shutter button and do my thing. And but you can check my website, see my work there. You can see my Instagram stuff. But that's me. I'm just a photographer, but I just use Olympus gears, and Olympus love me for that. So this is something I want to continue doing, and whether it's going to be Olympus or anybody else, who knows in the future. But I'm myself, I'm Jimmy Cheng. So I hope that comes across to you that I'm a genuine guy. Okay, let's see other things here. Oh, hello Eric from India. Okay, any other questions? I wouldn't be so blunt about them. They are photographers, but they don't make money from photography. That's for sure. They make money from the YouTube, and they make money from the books and other things other than selling their prints. And so, like I said, I respect them as persons. I respect them as a channel. I respect them. But like I mentioned, that it's just something, I don't feel comfortable about a lot of stuff they have said over the last 2 years. I used to follow them, and I watched their videos a lot in the past. But I guess over time things change, like they may have sponsors, and that's totally understandable. They're running the YouTube as a business as well, so they make money from it, they make a living from it, and it's really not my business to question. But what I do want to suggest to all the people out there, including in the YouTube communities and all the other YouTube reviewers and anybody else, is to just be more mindful about what they said. They don't take that seriously. They don't take the consequences seriously, and especially if those have influencing power. For me, like I said, I just more concentrating and creating work that I love to create more than anything else. But sometimes when I hear the news, I feel sad about why people do that, and not so much about whether the news is true or not, but it's more to do with the reaction and what I can see, the negative environment, the cloud that they cast over everybody else. This is what I don't enjoy when I see that. So yeah, definitely not something that I would encourage. And okay, let's see what the other thing I see here. Lee, hello, and I just one of the later comments here. Like I said, I'm skipping a lot of the comments here. Sorry about that. I will try to read all of them later on after this live is finished. And if you do have any question, anything else you want to ask me personally, whether it's going to be just pure photography related or brand related, if you really want to ask, you can email me. I'm going to give you my email. Is here. You can email me, and so you can ask me about things, and so it's going to be fun. And like I said, I'm open to teaching people. I'm open to sharing my knowledge and skills. I'm not the type of person who are very brand specific. That's what I'm trying to say. Brand specific. And but of course, every now and then I will say about Olympus, just because I use Olympus gears now, and I probably have slightly more advantage of knowing more about the latest technology in the Olympus camera than any other brand, simply because I have access to them. So that's what I would say. But there you go. That's my email there, so you can easily find me. So anything else here? Let's see. You can hear my kids are actually talking at the moment, so they're in the background. So one thing that is quite hard for me at the moment for generating or making YouTube video is that my kids are home full time because of the lockdown in London. So they're not back at school yet, and in fact they're not going to be back at school until September. So like it's going to be impacting my productions and videos, because I have really limited time to do things every day, and I still. Because of of the job losses that I have, I lost all my bookings this year. So I'm still, as a human being, I need to make a living, right? I still need to live on. So I need to make sure that I can scrape any jobs I can find on the market. And lucky I still have something going on, so I have to work on those. And because I'm working on those and with kids at home, that means that I have limited time to produce any videos on YouTube. Lucky I produced 3 in the last 3 weeks, but this Sunday I might have to delay this week's content until next week, because this week I have a couple of things I need to sort out. So hopefully you guys will bear with me, and thank you for continued support, and that's from the bottom of my heart. Okay. Let's see, and Yeah, at least you're definitely dead on there. You know, this is one of the reasons why I got the original EM5 in the first place. And in fact, after I got the EM5, yeah, this is a true fact. After I got the EM5 in 2012, and every time I go out to do non-professional stuff, with family or even just myself, I actually use the EM5 and nothing else. I have Canon, I have all this stuff, I have all the L lenses, you know, I have the huge collections there. I don't take them out because they're too heavy. And in fact, I just had my EM5 and a couple of lenses in a small shoulder bag, and I just have fun with my friends. I go and enjoy, and I can snap photos on the way. This is the life. This is the photographer's life. You know, I enjoy that. I really do enjoy that. And I was once like these type of people who used to carry a lot of gears on the shoulders and things like that just when they go traveling. But now I come past that now, you know, and especially now I'm not getting any younger, so like my body seriously cannot take the toll from all the heavy gears that impose on the back and shoulder. So I'd rather use a much lighter system and yet still capable. So there you go, the EM5 that is. Even that, you know, I still use the EM5 nowadays, even though I have EM1, Mark III and X and 2, I have all of them. But every time I go out to do a vlog, to do just to walk about, the EM5 or the Pen F are the two cameras that I always carry, just because it's just tiny and small and lightweight and still very, very capable. I usually have the 12mm f2 or the 45 1.8. These two are really good combo here. So if I want to get a longer shot, tele shot, or a wider shot, I have both. So which is actually really, really cool. Right, okay, sticking with investing in Olympus, I'm more into wildlife. Okay, right, I think this is time for me to start talking about Canon stuff. And this is actually a very, very good point now you're bringing up. Okay, right, I did a poll only a few days ago asking what sort of photography you do, like wildlife. I know I missed some categories there, where wildlife, macro, street photography, documentary, wedding, and kind of thing. And a lot of you guys responded. And it's a shame that YouTube only allowed me to post, you know, only 5 categories at a time, and I cannot edit or add or delete things afterwards. So I have to keep changing it. So I kind of gave up at the end. And but you all know that Olympus is very strong in the wildlife community, and this is a true fact. And this is why I think Canon is responding, and hence the title of today's original title, Canon is Scared. And so, like I said, I'm not talking down on Canon. It's just an observation from what they announced over the last few days. Not about the R5 or the R6, which are two brilliant cameras that does things that no one else does at the moment, especially the R6, which is the R5. Which one is it? I can't remember. The more expensive one that can do 8K video internally. And so I'm not talking about that particular camera there. I'm talking about the lens. So they're releasing 2 long tele lenses, which are supposed to rivaling the Micro Four Thirds tele lenses, such as the Panasonic 100-400, the 40-150 Olympus Pro lens, the 300mm f4 Pro. So they're supposed to rival these lenses. Why? Because these lenses are selling like freaking hotcakes, and I'm not joking. Like, you go to Safari Park, you go to a lot of the wetland centers and the wetland places. A lot of bird photographers, wildlife photographers are using Micro Four Thirds gears, and it's just a fact, because it's small, it's compact, because of the dual IS they can have on the cameras with respective cameras, and they can handheld a lot of stuff instead of putting on a gimbal and a tripod from the full frame world. And secondly, like I said about Olympus, they're making things affordable to people. And this is another thing about this wildlife thing, because traditionally, if you want to capture birds, capture long tele stuff like wildlife, safari, things like that, you need to have a lot of money, right? If you want to capture good stuff, that is, you need to invest in a Canon or Nikon, like 300mm f2.8. You need to invest in 500 5.6. Or the 800 6.3. You know, you have to invest on all these lenses, which are Tony and Chelsea have them, but but like, these are beasts, not only just the size, yeah, these are like 20 kilo lenses, yeah, and they are also 20 grand worth of gear. So how many people in the earth who are actually interested in photography, wildlife photography, safari, can afford to pay 20 to 30 grand a lens, let alone the body, yeah, just the lens. Yeah, and it's huge. Yeah, you have to put it in a case, you have to check in at the airport if you want to go somewhere else, put it in a case, ship it from location A to location B to do something. No, probably 1.001% of the population within the wildlife community can afford to do that. But most people now can afford to do that because of Micro Four Third. And they have all these people buying all these 300 f4 Pro, the 2x converters, the 40 to 150, the 100 to 400. These are popular lenses for this community, this particular community. And Canon, seeing that exactly what's going on, and they see this this market. Oh, our wildlife community has been eaten away. Yeah, not in the pro level, you know. But in general, people who interested in buying a camera just to take photograph of birds or take photograph of elephants and lion, cheetahs are chasing whatever, and in a safari, that market suddenly disappear from the full frame world. You know, not from Nikon and Canon, not Sony even, but it all shifted to Micro Four Third, and this is a trend that's been consistent for the last few years. So Canon sees that market completely almost gone. I'm not about pro sports photographer use those lenses, or pro top end wildlife photographer. They still have those lenses and those gears, but for people who can't afford to have 50 grand, can't have 30 grand, who can't have even 10 grand, they can now have a EM1 Mark II with the 300mm f4 Pro for less than a third of the money. You know, and that allows them to actually go and start shooting something that they truly enjoy and be passionate about. And this is what I'm talking about. So this is why the Canon now releasing. I laughed when I first saw the news. Is that the equivalent of the 600mm but f11 or 800mm. These are f11 lenses. They also, instead of using traditional optic design, they're using diffraction optic, DO, yeah, which is they already had this technology years and years ago. They have this green ring around the lens, yeah, and they used to have the 75 to 300 DO diffraction optics, which is very short, very small. So it's a very different design to traditional optic designs to enable you to shorten the actual lens barrel to make it more compact to use. So they're using that technology, coupled with the f11 aperture, I still have to laugh at it, f11 aperture, to try to shrink the size of that lens so that you can take it with you on the plane to a safari with your, obviously, the R system, the Canon R system. But look, okay, I know that full frame a mirrorless camera can shoot high ISO, yeah, but at f11, you know, this is something that I don't think any photographer actually wants. You know, like okay, unless you are shooting in a really bright, like massively bright sunny day, and f11 is going to be severely like handicap you in terms of shutter speed, and you have to push the ISO really high in bright daylight to capture something fast. And so why would I still want to go down that route if I can actually shoot at f4? You know, with a Micro Four Third, still have the Sync IS, which outperform any other systems out there in terms of stabilization, and that means that, you know, that shows. I mean, basically, that's what I'm trying to say now. That shows that Canon is really seriously thinking about the competitions out there. They're really seriously thinking about exactly what's happening to the wildlife market there, the long tele lens market, and so that is a very, very good point there, because just bring it up again, and this is the value of Micro Four Third that nobody really appreciate unless you actually handling the lenses and the kit on this, the whole kit themselves, and go into a trip. And you know, it's very easy for anyone, you know, who are into photography, who are into camera gears, or like just having gas in general, to talk about the downside of Olympus, the downside of Micro Four Third. But they never ever really actually touch one. They never ever really handle one, so they're never ever going to appreciate, you know, what we are actually enjoying the most. You know, and nowadays, because of Micro Four Thirds, I can seriously go out all day, like I mentioned, going to a family trip, go to anywhere I want, you know, just having a very small system, and I can still have a laugh with my friends, holding a beer, you know, weatherproof, of course, you know, you can spill beers and no problem, so long you have a weatherproof lens, yeah. And but you know, you get the idea. So instead of having a really big back, you know, shoulder and carrying these heavy gears, and you know, I'd rather be cool as a photographer. Yeah, I think that's the thing, and. hope that point comes across okay. I don't want to obviously upset anybody in terms of the people in the Canon world. Of course, I used to be a Canon guy myself, and also I need to say once again that Canon, I still respect all the brands out there, and I really seriously do not want to see any brands goes down, not just Olympus, but any brands across the world. You know what, I was really sad when Minolta disappeared. It really was, because I had a couple of Minolta cameras throughout my career. I had a couple of them. I loved them to bits, like the Dynix 7, Dynix 5. They're really fantastic cameras. And I've grown to love cameras in general, just because I'm a photographer, I love technology and the history, the heritage that they brought to the overall photographic community. You know, so whenever one brand goes down, it is really, really sad to see. That's why instead of cussing everybody, talk down on any brands, I just say that, look, we're all friends here. Let's talk photography instead of comparing your fingers, you know, who's got longer fingers and things like that. So let's don't do that. And rather than that, I would like to compare photos. And let's say, oh, how did you capture that shot? That's a brilliant lighting. That's really gorgeous composition there. You know, I'd rather like to talk about that. You know, that's to me is actually better. It's also less violent. You know, I can see these violent things going on online these days. People just really talking to a lot of people like really negatively. I get trolled all the time, to be honest. And I remember last week when I did the not last week, I think the week before, about Micro Four Thirds is not dead. There were a couple of comments that was really bad. But lucky, thank you guys for defending me. But sometimes I just don't think that these people should be just talk about trash like that. And you guys don't have to defend me, just ignore them, to be honest. I don't want to cause any trouble and things. We're all lovely people here, like right here. Like I said, I just want a civilized, happy, friendly conversation. That's what my live stream is all about. And at the end of the day, I just want, you know, everyone to enjoy photography, enjoy filmmaking, enjoy creativity, and especially in today's world, you know, we're filled with hatred, filled with negatives, filled with all this horrible virus everywhere, and who wants more? To be quite honest, you know, why don't we just hold the camera, go and take some shots, you know, and then we share the beautiful photos that everybody takes online, and we got inspired from each other. You know, I think this is a much better way to be in, rather than keep talking about gears and cameras. And okay, Xavier, yes, I mean, like exactly, but like I said, Tony, I do respect the guy, and definitely, you know, he's a nice guy. He's a really nice guy, I have to say. And but like I said, I do feel, you know, just a couple of things that he mentioned, and also over the years, and he's now maybe just a tad overusing his influencing power to create attention, so to speak. But I can totally understand from his point of view, these things would drive a lot of traffic to his channel, that also subsequently increase the profit and the money that he makes, and also continue to build on his influencing power. And I think that's the word, right? You know, influencing power. But anyway, that's my take on it. Right, all GIP needs to do is to develop new bodies and support panel Leica lenses as well, and to still to flourish. I actually do agree with you, Ricky. Rarely I agree with you, right? You just asked me to jump out of Olympus. But Ricky, no, I agree with you. I think Olympus should have better support with panel Leica lenses, and that's a fact. Because I love some of the Panasonic Leica lenses, especially those with the aperture rings. I love my aperture rings, and I really do. And so when I had the Panasonic Leica lenses, where I couldn't use the aperture rings on any of the Olympus bodies because it's not gear for it. You know, it's not programmed to use those. If you want to choose the or change the aperture, you have to use the dials, where like you normally do for Olympus camera. But I would like to see better compatibility on the aperture ring designs, and also the Sinker IS. And if that opens up, and that might be better, but I suspect they may not want to do that because Olympus IBIS is always just slightly ahead of Panasonic, even though that they share the same license technology. But then I think the Panasonic IBIS is actually a generation behind Olympus. So so that could be why they don't want to share that technology there, just because they may have some algorithm that is kind of like, yeah. We invented the IBIS thing. We want to be the first people who be able to enjoy this. So so that's why they're trying to kind of keep it a little bit close and let Panasonic develop their own OIS and then work with their kind of dual stabilization system. So that's probably why. But in terms of compatibility, I would like to see the aperture ring works in OMD bodies. That would be pretty cool. And I do agree. Olympus could make lenses for other camera brands. I'm not entirely sure that would be a viable business, simply because they will have to compete with the likes of Tamron and Sigmas and Tokina. So, and in fact, there are absolutely tons of lenses out there now. You have the Chinese people coming in like Laowa, Pergear, Artisan, and then you have this Korean company like Samyang and all the others. So like, there are absolutely tons of third-party lens manufacturers out there now. Whether they want to jump into it to try to carve out a new business out there, I'm not entirely sure. And also, don't forget that Olympus lenses are really high quality. If they want to make the same quality lenses for other markets, they're not going to be cheap. And if they're not going to be cheap, I don't think that they can be as competitive as, let's say, the likes of Sigma and Tamron, because they're always going to be undercutting into the price compared to Olympus. So that may not work as well as you might think. So they may still want to continue producing lenses for the Micro Four Thirds platform. And so like Panasonic people can use it, Blackmagic people can use it, Z cameras, obviously they all use Micro Four Thirds mount, Sharp, Panasonic, Sharp and I can't remember, JVC, yes, JVC, and all the other company can still using all the lenses, and also DJI drones, the Inspire drone who use the Micro Four Thirds mounts, so they can still use them as well. So I think it's possibly not. They would just concentrate on Micro Four Thirds, and that will be it. Reggie, I'm alive. Oh no, it's not me. I talk about someone else. Oh no, it is me. It is me. I'm alive. I'm alive. Obviously. Okay, Studio 97. I moved from Nikon to Olympus, then to Sony, and now I'm back to Olympus because I found Olympus exactly what I need. Easy to use and just as good, if not better, than any other brand. Well, yeah, I totally feel you, man. I totally feel you. This is exactly what I just mentioned earlier about, the reason I switched, and now I'm in a very comfortable place and how I shoot and how I conduct my business. I just a happy guy. I've got nothing to complain about anything else. Well, of course, I do have wish lists, but who doesn't want to have a wish list about the perfect camera? But like I mentioned so many times in my previous Photography 101, there isn't a perfect camera out there, regardless of the brand. None. There will always be something, certain features, certain things that you will think, wouldn't that be great to have that in my camera? It's always the case. Grass is always greener on the other side. And so let's hope that one day that perfect camera will exist, and that means that we all going to be happy. But for me, because I'm a professional, I have certain requirements. I have certain things in mind. I need the camera to perform, and that's why I just basically, continue with the path that I'm chosen. Tony does not understand. I actually think that probably not many people do, to be quite honest. People who talk negative about Micro Four Thirds really don't appreciate the benefit that Micro Four Thirds really brings, and they're not the type of people who actually use these type of gears. To be quite frank, they might be loving the ultra shallow depth of field, bokeh-licious rendering, all the big giant bokeh balls that everybody seems to like these days. Yeah, these are perhaps the newer generations of photographer who hasn't got a lot of the background knowledge about photography, who doesn't really appreciate the terms format. I think that people don't really understand what format really is. They only think that full frame is the format. I think that's what I would say. But apart from that, I don't seriously think that this would be the the end of Micro Four Thirds at all. People are casting doubt about, especially now, because of this particular news about Olympus. People continue to drill onto the depth of Micro Four Thirds, which I say, yeah, definitely going now. I'm pretty sure I've seen enough of these videos already, and every time I see the title, I actually just skip. I don't want to even hear about it because I know they're talking nonsense, and there could be all nice people out there, but the true fact is, a lot of these people, I have watched some of these videos before, and a lot of them, you can tell from the way they say it, is that they haven't even used a Micro Four Thirds system, or camera, or lens, nothing. But they talk about it. They talk about it based on what other people talk about it, and then trying to create this viral effect, and then because they know this would drive the traffic to their YouTube channel, to the videos, to their written blogs or something. And like I said, I totally understand why they did it, but like I also said, I don't encourage or like people to do that simply because they are basically talking rubbish. And yeah, this is something that I think that before you say something, please have some facts. Please have some experience about why you make that claim first. If you haven't used the Micro Four Thirds gear, use Olympus gear, use Panasonic gears, Blackmagic, anything else. If you're not in the industry, you're not a location shooter, you don't travel a lot, yeah, please don't make those claims that you try to like tell your audience, tell your followers, and trying to influencing them about the decisions without actually truly understand where it come from in the first place. So I think this is why I try. I mean, at least I try. I try to tell people whenever I get questions or asked, is that gear is secondary, and don't forget that you just have to make sure that you highlight the list as a photographer, as a videographer. What do you need for your camera to perform? Whether you travel a lot, whether you need a lightweight system, whether you need weather seal, whether you need this and that. Image quality, of course, important, but that's also down to the lenses that you have. So not just the camera body, because a lot of people always forget about lenses. And so you have to make sure that you have the combination, the kit, the actual kit itself that will perform to anything that you want it to do. And before you do that, the only way to find out whether that kit will definitely work for you or not is by trying it. And so I keep reiterating it because there are so many people out there are simply not doing the right thing. And they would read a lot of the reports, they would read a lot of the reviews, they would go on YouTube, look at a lot of the videos, and then they would listen to a lot of people talking about things, go into forums and things, talk about things, but they still don't try the gear. So I would say the best thing to do is to order the camera, and most cases now these days that they will allow you to return the cameras. So like especially now because of the lockdowns and stuff like that, you may not be able to go down to your local camera store to try out the camera. But if you can't, try to order it, try it yourself. If it doesn't work, ship back. Get another one, or better still, if you can still rent them. I know it's a little bit of a cost element there if you're renting equipment, but this is also a good way to trying out the gears as well, especially lenses, which focal lengths work for you, or whether the weight is actually good for you, the handling, for instance, like these sort of things that it's good to try out before you buy. And so it's no point talking about this and that, just based on just words, black and white on the paper. Is the best thing. You are human, like you have interactions there. You have your body here. You need to listen to your brain by trying it out yourself. And my son just talked in front of me. And Michael, no, who knows? No, okay.
Mommy, where's the bell?
Yes, Brad, you're very, very true there. Photographer is. Photographs are the most important in the end. Yes, Brad, you hit the nail there. This is exactly what I've been talking about. You know, regardless what gear you use, what camera and lenses, whatever combo you use, it's the photographs that matters to in the end to everybody. You know, like I said in the last few streams that I did, that if you go into competition, international big competitions there, you go out there and you ask the judges, will I get bonus point if I use a Hasselblad, if I use a 100 megapixel Hasselblad or Fujifilm, or if I use a 0.95 a Nikon lens, would I get bonus point for that? No, of course not. You know, it's the images, you know, that counts. You know, I'm scoring you, I'm judging based on the content and the aesthetic of your photograph, not about what gear you use. It's never gonna be like that. So it's the photographs for any photographer. Photograph is the most important thing. So it's all about here and your eyes and how you execute using your tools. This is definitely dead on about the whole philosophy of about photography is less so about gears. And gear helps you for sure, that's for sure. But ultimately, you are the guy who's clicking the button, yeah? You are the guy who's setting all the dials. So like you control it, not the computer controlling you. And so make sure that you understand that, and don't try to get into the rabbit hole, you know, trying to dig yourself a deeper and deeper hole into gears, but less, and then forgot about photography, the essence of photography. John, and Olympus is really bad at marketing. Okay, I don't want to. Because I know a few Olympus marketing people, so I don't want them to listen if they're hearing this at the moment. But let's say that there are improvements that can be done, that's for sure. But I'm hoping JIP is going to introduce a more marketing power and also brand building. Hopefully that will help Olympus in general as a business and a brand to propel to the next level, becoming better and better. Then that's what I'm hoping, and I'm pretty sure that is going to be the case. And because they are different type of company, they no longer driven by the directions that imposed from the Olympus corporate. Sorry, my daughter just cried.
What is it? What did you do, Ashton? What did you do?
I'm sorry about that. And my daughter's crying. I'm pretty sure that my son just hit her. And okay, and let's see. Ryan, hello Ryan, and I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, and I'm skipping through some comments now. Julian, you agree with my point, obviously, and the photography is an art and gear is not so important at the end. But when you won't be able to buy a new Olympus body in the next few years, you eventually have to switch. Well, and okay, you know, so be it. You are a photographer, you're able to use any cameras anyway. So I don't think that would be a problem, even for myself. And yes, I'm an Olympus ambassador. Like I said, if one day does happen, if one day that I have to stop being an ambassador for Olympus or stop working with Olympus, or Olympus doesn't exist, and so be it. You know, like I don't rely on Olympus to survive, and I'm a pro. I use my gear to make money, and I could use any other cameras. And just because of now that I just love the Olympus kit of what I do, I prefer to use Olympus because it provides the features and the functionalities and ruggedness and portability that I need to perform my jobs better. So that's why I'm sticking with Olympus, and true, like I said, Olympus UK saw that, and Olympus Europe saw what I do, and they prefer that I show the stuff out to the public, and not about selling the gears and the brand directly to customers, but more also about influencing about my work as a photographer, as a creator, to influencing people about, you know, these images and these things are actually created using Olympus gear. So it's actually the other way around. So less of hard selling, less of hard promoting a brand. It's more about myself. So this is something I really appreciate that Olympus has done for me, and also allowing me to be myself as an artist, as a photographer, as a creator. So this is something I still really appreciate what they did for me, and over the last year or so, since I made ambassador last year. So I'm still really grateful for that. And of course, none of that would have happened if you guys wouldn't support me. So in the first place, so I'm really grateful for that too. Hello, Minjae, Kim. Oh, you're a fan living in South Korea. Oh, thank you very much. Olympus and camera has withdrawn the Korean market. Is there a possibility that other countries will withdraw? Right. Okay. Good question. And you probably have missed a part of my conversation at the beginning of my stream. Is that Olympus still keeping their technical after-sales service in Korea, even though they have closed down the office, but they're remaining some sort of presence there and to continue servicing people who already bought camera gears in Korea. So they're still there. You still be able to contact them and have their cameras repair or service. So you don't have to worry about that. And because of that, I think, in general, if things does reverse back to the old days, if things stand better in the next coming years, it's not difficult for Olympus to reintroduce themselves into South Korea for sales and everything like that. You don't know just yet. And obviously, that I heard about the reason behind the closure, not just about the financial stuff, but it's more about political stuff as well. So you can correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, the question about other countries, I think there is a possibility there simply because the new parent company now, the JID, who just purchased Olympus Imaging Division, will definitely do some sort of streamlining, some sort of restructuring for the camera businesses. So they will definitely look into the map, the world map, to trying to find out which region, which office makes money, which doesn't make money. So they will probably have a decision to make whether they will streamline that further to making it as maybe a one central headquarters in a particular region and controlling all the countries together. For instance, Europe will control all the other European countries, depending on regions, and have one central body controlling everything, rather than having separate offices because they cost money, of course. So this is something that they may do, and I'm pretty sure that that even JIP didn't actually involve into this particular thing. Olympus might have already thought about it. So, it's a general business practice. It's understandable. Like any companies out there, Nikon's already done a lot of restructuring over the last few years because their business also suffering quite a bit, and also Pentax and Ricoh also doing the same thing. And yeah, it's just a general thing about businesses. They evolve, they adapt to changing environments, especially it's a very challenging environment for sure. And they definitely have to make sacrifices sometimes, depending on what sort of thing they have to do to make sure the survival of the company, the brand, and the gears. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, but I'm pretty sure something would happen, but obviously don't quote on me. I'm simply just speculating something just out of obvious reasons. Then David, hello. Michael Forther is for people who are willing to compromise because they're lazy. Oh, no. Well, that really depends on what we call lazy. And frankly, that I've been there myself, and I still have some full-frame gears. Actually, the film cameras, they're not really digital anymore. And but the fact is, it's not about laziness. Sometimes it is about whether you have the ability to do that. Like I mentioned, if I go into a mountain shoot, and unless you're a big gun photographer, like I mentioned, you're a National Geographic, or something, you have a budget to do it, and you have a bunch of helpers, like porters, to help you carry the gears. Imagine yourself carrying like 20 kilo cameras. That's not even including your supply to climb up the mountain. Imagine that, unless you're a super fit individual, it's going to be really, really challenging. And Michael Forther brings this that you can not only just half, maybe even less than a half the weight. So that means it allows you to either be more endurable, and also you can carry more other supplies we can do, so it makes your life a lot easier. And it just whether you can actually physically do it. And that's why also you can see a lot of the photographers out there now. And not about ageism, I'm not sure about be discriminative or anything like that. So sorry about it if I do offend people, but some of the older generations of photographers or less mobile photographers, imagine the benefit that brings to these people having a lighter gears. It's phenomenal. like my dad, for instance. Now my dad is over 70s already. He used to use the Canon 5D series, and he likes birds, so he has the 100 to 400 L lens that he has. So he loved the these long lenses shooting birds as well. He stopped that completely now because it's just too heavy for him to handle. He's no longer very mobile. He's got wobbly legs and things like that. So it's these. Also, bad thing, like it's not about laziness, but Micro Four Third really give the opportunity for people like my dad, for instance, and who are less mobile, who are less physical to do certain things, are able to enjoy this passion once again, just because they are simply built for lightweight usage, and that means that they can actually handhold the camera once again. They can have the stabilization to prevent the shakiness, that all sorts of stuff that allow them to enjoy the hobby. And once again, so I think it's a very good thing. It's a very positive thing to do, and that's something that nobody else, like I mentioned, would appreciate unless you get to that stage, and that you can say, oh man, I wish my camera would be 5 kilo lighter. I bet people come across that, when they get old, and then they will think that, oh, this may be just a little bit too heavy for me now, and then so yeah, then Micro Four Third is a good alternatives for these people who are still into photography, into creating stuff, and be able to go back again, once again. And let me just look down at some of the comments here. Okay, and here we go. The funny thing is the top Olympus models provide everything and more I asked for. I'm still amazed by its capabilities. I think that's what you're trying to say. Yeah, I'm actually truly amazed by the EM1 Mark III in particular. It's really slim body that allows me to do a lot with it. I know that a lot of people have been talking about the EM1 Mark II and the EM1 Mark III. They're essentially kind of the same thing, and but it's actually the subtle differences that actually makes the big difference. I mean, once again, is because whether you actually do use them or not. So I do use these little features, and I do notice the big improvement in those areas, and I actually think that it is definitely worth for me paying the extra money for the EM1 Mark III. But for a lot of photographers out there who don't do what I do, I think the EM1 Mark II is definitely more than sufficient to do your job brilliantly, and it's definitely there for you. But if depending on application, depending on something that you might do, you might want to test the two cameras out to see which one is better for you. But I think a lot of the cases, the high-end Olympus camera definitely something that people don't really realize how good they really are. I do too, Leonardo, and I don't think they're going to stop innovating Olympus, but obviously I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't lie. Things will have to be money driven. So when they purchase Olympus Imaging Division, and they definitely going to have a look at the account book and see the money investment that they have, how they can propel this into the future, and making sure that Olympus is going to be a lasting business and a profitable business, either through restructuring but also innovating. They can't really stop innovating, so this is something that I don't think you should be worried too much. But how quickly they can innovate, that's another thing, because depending on how much budget they can have for R&D, it's also down to the actual market itself, and also how much money they can regenerate from selling those products. So I'm hoping that is going to continue, and I'm pretty sure that they will continue to innovate because they need the innovation to survive in this digital world. And without innovations in the digital market, you are probably left dead. That's for sure. And that's why I think Olympus is doing quite well for now, is because there's always that they have these really cool features. Like latest EM1 Mark III, they have the Starry Sky. The EM1X has the AI, deep learning AI tracking, and then all the other stuff, pro captures, live bulb, live composite, and all this stuff like that. That in most of the OMD cameras, and they just phenomenal features that allow photographers to do a lot of stuff, cool stuff, that really kind of set themselves apart from other competitions because they don't have these features. So I'm pretty sure that they will continue that trend, and because this is one of the selling point about Olympus cameras, is because of all these really cool features that they have. Let's see there, anybody else? John, will Panasonic continue at Micro Four Thirds? Well, they just announced the G100, so I think the answer is yes, they are going to continue, because a new camera literally just dropped this morning. Oh, Yukai, I think you missed it. I talked about Canon already. Right, in short, and what I said about Canon was that they saw their long tele lens market for consumer is completely vanished over the years of Micro Four Thirds development, and because they're tying to some of the stuff that I spoke about earlier, is about affordabilities and also physical capabilities of photographers. So first of all, it's about affordability. So a lot of the passionate wildlife photographers who can't afford to buy a 20 grand a lens, like a wildlife lens, like a proper Canon like 500mm f5.6 or the 800mm f8, these sort of lenses, they are really super expensive and super heavy to do. So like for those people who can't really afford that sort of money, they have nowhere to go until Micro Four Thirds came around, because you can now have a really high quality professional lenses for really a tenth of the money. You know, look at the panel like a 100 to 400. Look at the Olympus 40 to 150 2.8 and the 300 f4. These lenses are between £1,200 to like, let's say, 2 grand. So in American dollars will be between I don't know, 1,500 to 2,500. So compare this to 15,000, 20,000. It's nothing, right? It's nothing. And so people who couldn't afford to buy those lenses before, now they can with the Micro Four Thirds system. And also about physical capability. Like I mentioned earlier, some of the older generation photographers who simply can't carry a like 10 kilo lens. And they can't really shoot with those lenses anymore because they are just too heavy and bulky. And so this is something that Micro Four Thirds really comes on its own in terms of the actual lightweight itself, and also the portability side of it. The lenses are way smaller, way lighter, and yeah, like I said, affordable. So now these photographers who are passionate about wildlife, passionate about using these long tele lenses to do something that they really truly passionate about, now they can with Micro Four Thirds. And this is the market that Canon never really see that coming, because they thought they own the wildlife, yeah, they own that particular sector. They even Nikon, they have these big long lenses that everybody dream about owning one. But now all these people who used to dream about owning these lenses are buying Olympus, buying Panasonic, buying these long tele lenses, because now they can shoot with those lenses. And they handheld, they don't have to put on a tripod gimbal, they don't have to do that anymore. So how brilliant is that? So that's why that Canon was worried that now they reintroduce some new lenses that have, I keep laughing at it, but like the 400 and 800 lenses with f11 aperture. The reason why they release such a slow lens at f11 is to try to make the size more compact, and also they're re-employing the DO technology, which is the diffraction optics design for the lenses, to make sure that the barrel is a lot shorter, to make it more portable, to compete with Micro Four Thirds. That's a fact, though. You know, like I'm not just talking about it because I think like this, but a lot of the publications out there online already discussing about these f11 lenses for that particular reasons. And f11 is really, really slow. And even though you have that reach, but at f11 there are only limited things you can do in wildlife terms, unless you shoot it in a very bright daylight environment. Other than that, any dimmer, any overcast situation, you won't be able to even shoot at 1/500 or 1/1000 of a second shutter speed. You have to push the ISO to 6400, 12,800 to be able to capture those photographs. So by then you are losing all the benefit of having a bigger full frame format, because you're shooting at f11. So in that case, you must well, if that is your passion, this is something that you do constantly, it's still better off getting a Micro Four Thirds, because you can shoot at f2.8, you can shoot at f4. You know, even the forthcoming 150 to 400 Olympus Pro lens at 5.6 with the built-in 1.25 teleconverters, even that is still at 5.6, but it has a reach of equivalent to 800 millimeters minimum. So like this is something that I think the Micro Four Thirds is still trumps over the bigger format, no matter how they want to do it. But they're trying to compensate by introducing these so-called smaller and more portable lenses for these type of photographers, but they completely forgotten about these are f11 lenses. And well, I'm pretty sure they know about it, but the thing is they can't shrink their lenses anymore. They can't defy physics. Full frame is a bigger format. You know, it's just physics. They need a certain diameter at the back of the elements to allow the light to pass through. And that is why that they are always bigger and heavier. No matter how they want to shrink it, they can never ever get close to the size and weight of a Micro Four Thirds system, regardless. Okay, the body may be able to shrink to close to Micro Four Thirds sizes, but the lens, they can never ever do that. The only way to compete is to make sure they use a slower and design, which means that, you know, f11, f8 design. But like, would you buy an f11 or f8 lens? You know, I mean, unless you have specific uses, but for me, I probably wouldn't. But like I said, Canon is doing a fantastic job of pushing the envelope. I'm particularly interested in looking at the latest R6 and R5 because they are genuine interesting cameras, especially one that can shoot 8K internal 422. And this is something to, I think for me, technological advancement from Canon is definitely very, very cool. And I had to admit that, you know, like I said, I never talk down on any other brands there. I appreciate whenever they do something cool. And Canon, in this case, they are doing something really cool. 8K internal 422, I personally won't use it, but I just like to learn about it because it's just a technology that people will scream about, you know, and I don't think it will benefit 99.9% of the population out there because no one can currently process 8K footage sufficiently unless you have a supercomputer at home, you know, and that's a true fact. I mean, unless you have an ecosystem at home in your studio that can process 8K footage, you know, for editing, not just about editing footage, but putting LUTs, putting effects and everything like that. This would take a big toll on your computer system and your backend, your archiving, everything has to be massive. So it won't benefit anybody else unless the backend technology actually catch up. So at the moment, the Canon system is going to be a showcase for what they can do with the camera system. I can do this, I can do 8K, I can do this. So it's cool. It's definitely very, very cool. And I see that they are being the leader and also inspiration to other companies. So this is what I talked about, inspiration, yeah? Micro Four Thirds and also adversely influencing bigger format about their portability. And this is exactly what the Micro Four Thirds did for Canon. Because of all these smaller and more portable lightweight lenses, allowing more people to enjoy photography, especially for people who can't afford or can't be as mobile as the younger generations, are able to do that once again. And then now Canon is seeing that potential there and they're trying to do something about it. So that is exactly what I said about the Canon earlier on, and I still stand by that. I think that Canon is a great company, you know, so is Nikon. They're all great companies out there. I would hate to see anybody doing badly, to be honest. And so it's good to see innovation. It's good to see advancement in technology. This is why, as a consumer, we are enjoying all the fruits that this company brings to us. So hopefully, this is something that to be scream about, to be happy about. We are actually very, very lucky these days in the digital world. We have a lot of technology to play. We have a lot of cameras to do things about, and you know, we are never ever short of gears. So this is something that we are very, very spoiled. Okay, and let's see now, and Ricky is ease lockdown. I know it's ease lockdown, Ricky. I know, but you know, I still wouldn't want to go out myself too often, especially I've got 2 young children here, and it's just me personally. I'm maybe a little bit more reserved. I try not to expose myself too much in the public. So that's why I'm still kind of remain at home most of the time, doing my things. And will Olympus gear go in price in the future? JLP making profitable company, leading job, blah blah blah. You never know, but overall, you can see, look at the trend of all the photographic gears in general, that all the prices are going up in general anyway. So I think very likely the next generations of product are going to be more expensive to buy, and that's for sure. But I'm hoping they will bring the innovation into these cameras and lenses to make sure they can justify the price increase. And if that's the case, I'm happy about it. I don't have a problem with that. as long as the innovations and technologies are there. And so that's okay. I'm all up for it. I'm all up for the future of Olympus. Oops, I got the wrong one here. Okay, I think. Thank you for understanding. I pretty appreciate your words. Don't start that, mate. Don't start that. Nikon might be next. I know Nikon's not doing too well recently, and but like I said earlier, I mean, I really would hate to see any companies go down. And as a matter of fact, as a photographer who knows these brands for so many years, and it feels like they're all part of the family, to be quite honest. And even though that we are different families, but it will be bad to see any bad things happen to any of these companies, to be quite frank. And they all have their good days, they all have their bad days, and hoping that this is just temporary, and hope that all the companies are going to be flourish in the future, and we all live kind of happily ever after. Right, okay guys, and I think I'm gonna end my stream very soon. And any other few last comments that you want me to talk about, I'll skip through to the last bit now. And thank you again, once again, for tuning in. I really appreciate all your support, really from the bottom of my heart. And it's really because of you guys had led me to do what I'm doing today, and also the YouTube channel, everything that I do, the live stream, and talking to you guys, continue to do things with you guys, and really help me out. And so it's a big thank you for you guys' continued support. And just on that particular note, I am currently negotiating with some sponsors, whether it's going to be through the channel or through me personally. So you may see some advert into my channel in the future, so that will be cool. At least it helped me out to continue sustaining the channel. And also, and on another note, hopefully something that you will enjoy is that I'm going to organize an open competition. Yes, that involving prizes. So if you guys hear that right, I'm going to have prizes on this competition. So I'm actually negotiating once again with other sponsors at the moment, see what prizes I can get to reward your hard work of taking this competition. So if you guys are into it, remember, thumbs up and subscribe to this channel, and listen for my future announcement, because this competition hopefully will be interesting. It will be different categories, so hopefully it will be something for everyone. But it's a hard work for me. I need to organize everything. I need to organize prices. I need to talk to everybody in the back end, and hopefully this will be successful. If this is successful, hopefully I'll be running it as an annual basis, and it'll be annual competition, and it'll become bigger and bigger thing. And also, yeah, might as well let me know what you want to call this competition. Yeah, let's do that. What do you want to call this competition? I'm open. I have open mind about the ideas, the name of the competition. I haven't named anything yet. I haven't even called it the Red 35 photo competition or Jimmy Cheng photo competition. I haven't named anything like that yet. I can't call it Olympus, because this competition is not directly related to Olympus. It's just purely for me. So let me know what you want about the name of the photo competition. And I will take some advices from you guys. And if it's something that is catchy and something is cool, then I'll run with that name. And that will be awesome, right? And I will thank you publicly for doing that. Right, cool stuff. And yeah, thank you again. Really thank you. Yeah, hopefully that you take today's news as just the news. You know, nothing more negative about a news. You know, it's nothing about death, right? You know, it's nothing about death, to be honest. Did they actually say that Olympus is going to fold or close? No. So it's not a negative news. It's just a news about the shifting the parent company from Olympus to JIP. That's it. So hopefully that this is exactly how you read it. If not, hopefully my words and my stream today will give some reassurance to you about Olympus' future, and also the Micro Four Thirds platform and format in general. I still think it's a very strong platform. It deserves a place in the market. They allowed a lot of photographers to enjoy photography once again, and even for newcomers who are into photography, give a good place to start. And also we have a very strong community here, very good people, as you can see from all of you interacting with each other. I'm pretty sure that we all share the same enthusiasm towards photography, filmmaking, content creation, and Micro Four Thirds platform. So like we have a whole bunch of good people here, and I'm pretty sure everybody will help each other out. You know, we've run into trouble and taking certain photographs and things like that. If you go into Facebook, you see a lot of the Micro Four Thirds groups, forums and things like that. They're all very helpful. You're really struggling with ideas and about taking certain photographs. You know, these people are really way more experienced than me in taking certain things. So, but if you are into like weddings and portraits and documentaries and cinematic filming, I'll be the person, so you can ask me about those stuff. But anything else like astrophotography, underwater, long exposure shots, and light painting, things like that, I'm not the expert on it, so don't ask me about that. So I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there can help you out. And like I've seen so many beautiful, absolutely stunning photographs on a lot of the sites and forums. And genuinely, there are a lot of great photographers out there, especially in the Micro Four Thirds world. But once again, like I mentioned, this is a photographic community, a creative community. There's not brand specific. You know, we don't want to really we split into like Canon family, Nikon family, whatever, Olympus family, Panasonic. Yes, we are using those gears, but we're still part of the community of being a photographers, filmmakers, and content creators. So all we want to do is that we inspire each other. And let's do that. Okay, thank you very much, and thank you, and again for joining my live stream once again. So hopefully you will continue to support this channel by subscribing, putting thumbs up, and putting a bell notification if you haven't already subscribed, and that will be definitely helped me out a lot and to grow the channel. And I have been lagging, I have to admit, progress and production over the last few months because of the lockdown, and also that I'm feeling a little bit stressed and depressed because you know, like obviously losing a lot of my jobs, and also kids full-time at home, you know, it really severely impact on the productions. So a lot of this happening, and I'm still trying to adjust to the new normal. That's how they call it, the government call it the new normal. So it's going to be a time that I need to reflect on myself and how I'm going to improve on that. But bear with me, I'm trying to work on it. And actually you can see that the last few videos that I made on Sunday releases, and I changed my style a little bit. Hopefully you all enjoy those type of contents and those sort of style. If you like it, please let me know. And if you don't, please also let me know so I can improve on it. And so that will be it. Excellent stuff. So thank you very much. And like I said, if I have any news about Olympus, I'm very certain I will report back to you guys. And so I'm very fortunate. I'm in a position that I have in close contact with a lot of the Olympus senior management. So I do know exactly what's going on. So as soon as I know something, I'm pretty sure that you'll be one of the first to know. Do follow me on Instagram and also Facebook as well, because they're usually my places to share the latest news. Because YouTube, I have a strict schedule between Wednesday and Sunday. So anything happening in between could be a little bit difficult for me to announce it on YouTube. So I'd rather announce it through Instagram or Facebook. These are the places that I usually tell people the latest stuff. So thank you once again. And I will see you very soon again, either tomorrow on Facebook. Come and see me on Facebook, Jimmy Cheng, and then you'll find me there. And also next week, next Wednesday, will be another live, and hopefully it will be something rather than an Olympus specific news. So hopefully I'll talk about photography once again. Maybe have some sort of new discussion, maybe another fun discussion. How's that? And of course, you can give me ideas exactly what you want to hear, and I will take that as a note. So if it's something that I could produce fairly quickly, and I will talk about it next Wednesday. So, okay. No problem. So you guys take care, and I'm losing my voice starting. So you guys all remember, stay safe and stay happy shooting, and continue to do what you love, which is photography and content creation. Be creative. Okay, guys, I will speak to you guys all later and next time, and have fun shooting. Peace out.